Keon shouts at the bald guy. What are you saying? Clearly disagreeing with his decision. Both men argue fiercely about what to do. As the dispute heats up, the bald guy begins using his ice powers, preparing to attack Keon and his roommate. Keon, refusing to back down, readies his own powers. As the bald man continues talking, distracted, a monster suddenly bumps into his back, pinning him to the ground under its weight. Lee Gun, standing nearby, warns the two roommates, "Get out now." "It's too dangerous," Keon quickly responds. "We either teleport everyone out, or we kill all the monsters. The exit's blocked, and there are too many injured people here. Plus, the Ares sect is barricading the place." Pissed off, Gun watches as the bald man rises from the rubble. "I thought you ran and abandoned the people," Gun remarks casually, prompting the man to get angry. Just as the bald man attempts to teleport, the Spider Queen shoots out a web, wrapping him tightly and disabling his movements. He's shocked, but before he can react, the Spider Queen devours him, leaving Gun and the two roommates stunned. Lee Gun immediately instructs Keon and his roommate, "Help the injured. I'll deal with the Spider Queen outside the market." The barricade is almost complete as the Ares Saint arrives on the scene, asking, "What's the situation?" One of the guards mentions that the barricade isn't working properly. "It feels like something's blocking it," the guard speculates. Suddenly, a burst of green light explodes from within the barrier, blinding everyone outside. It's the energy of Lee Gun, shocking the Ares Saint. Civilians start pouring out of the building, pleading with the guards to help, saying there are still people trapped inside. One of the civilians mentions that someone is fighting the spider, which makes the Ares Saint uneasy. "Even I couldn't catch that spider," he mutters to himself, deciding to investigate personally. He dashes through the walls and into the building, only to be shocked by what he sees. The Spider Queen is dead. Surveying the battlefield, the Ares Saint realizes a massive fight has taken place. His stress grows, another problem added to his already heavy burden. Sensing familiar energy, he quickly looks outside and spots Hugo. Is Hugo behind this? He wonders. Just then, a voice cuts through his thoughts. "How have you been without me?" The Saint's face drains of color, fear gripping him. The voice taunts. "What's wrong, Pube? Something bothering you?" Slowly, the Ares Saint turns and sees Lee Gun standing there, striking fear deep into his soul. Who are you?" he stammers. We shift to the outside, where Keon and his friend are catching their breath. Keon is deep in thought, wondering, is that guy really Lee Gun? He looks different, but his movements are the same. Suddenly, someone calls out Chien's last name. It's Hugo, the Sagittarius Saint, asking, "What are you doing here?" Chien's friend is shocked, recognizing Hugo immediately, while Keon, acting like a brat, casually greets his father. Hugo looks taken aback by his son's attitude, while Chien's friend can't stop laughing. Irritated, Keon rolls his eyes, but Hugo takes a deep breath to calm himself. "I am just glad no one got hurt," he says, though his tone is stern. Hugo then turns serious, asking, "What happened inside?" Keon, still acting like a brat, dodges the question, further frustrating his father. Meanwhile, Chien's friend mentions, "Gun will be fine," catching Hugo's attention. Immediately, Hugo steps in front of the friend, his eyes narrowing. "Wait, did you say Kun? Lee Gun?" he asks. Chien's friend nods. "Yeah, it's him," Gun said. "Oh, Taipsu. And he was the one who killed the Spider Queen." "His name was definitely Lee Gun," he explains. Just then, a loud rumble echoes and the building starts to collapse, drawing everyone's attention. Inside, we see the Ares Saint gasping as he faces off against Lee Gun. Lee Gun sneers. "It's been 20 years since we last met, and the first thing you do is attack me." The Ares Saint is still trying to process how Lee Gun could have survived, but then notices something strange about his appearance. His face has changed, but the voice is the same. Confidently, the Ares Saint snaps, "You brat. How dare you impersonate him? I was scared for nothing." Lee Gun looks confused for a moment, then watches as the Ares Saint charges up his power. "How dare you deceive the great Ares Saint?" The Saint roars, but before he can unleash his attack, Lee Gun swiftly punches him in the stomach, sending him flying across the battlefield. Gun dashes after him, appearing behind the Saint like a blur, casually toying with him. When the Saint turns, Gun is already in front of him, standing over his battered body. Lee Gun cracks his knuckles, his expression darkening. "I've been meaning to kill all of you anyway," he says, his voice dripping with menace. Fear fills the Aries Saint's eyes as Gun continues. I'm going to destroy everything you've built. The Aries Saint struggles to his feet, still in disbelief. Is this really Li Gun? He wonders. Powering up, he activates his skills and yells. If you're really Li Gun, prove it. The ground trembles as the Jade Emperor manifests himself behind the saint, radiating divine energy. Li Gun smirks. Oh, just a part of a holy god showed up. The Aries Saint, now fueled by the Jade Emperor's power, binds Li Gun with chains, grinning wickedly. Do you still think we're small fry? He mocks. Summoning his heavenly armament skill, he launches a barrage of divine weapons directly at Gun, burying him under a mountain of swords. The saint watches, waiting for any sign of movement. Did I win? He whispers, a smile forming on his face. But then, a blinding green light bursts from the pile of swords, and before he can react, Li Gun's fist slams into the saint's face, leaving him stunned. Now battered, the Aries Saint stumbles back, still dazed. Is this really Li Gun? He asks, almost in disbelief. Li Gun grins maniacally, finally satisfied. Now you recognize me. He taunts, his eyes gleaming with madness. I've really returned, he declares, laughing with exaggerated confidence.